It's Dash back with another forbidden vlog. Hopefully this one comes out. I just did one on this subject. It completely disappeared on me. Certainly it's the deep state. So tonight's topic is Black Banks of the CIA, a overview and history. Up front, I'll say that this is not an overall condemnation of the mainline CIA, and that their enemies in the Cold War were up to nefarious activities as well, and it was a war, a secret war, and I think the press and publications sort of only were pretty much one-sided in their analysis of some of the stuff, but nonetheless, it is impossible to tell the difference between kind of black operative cliques, rogue operators, and the mainline agency. So if you're watching this, CIA, doesn't mean that I think that you're all scumbags. Nevertheless, this is what the Stash channel is for. We talk about stuff that you're not supposed to talk about. Highly forbidden, controversial, and awesome. Ranging from anywhere from 68 to 300 hits. I don't know if that's very good for a vlog. And can you hear me? Nobody ever tells me if they can hear me. I gotta get a mic, I guess, right? So, anyway, hopefully this will be a good rant. So, it goes like this, alright? So, Paul Helliwell of the Castle Bank and Trust. That would be sort of the old school. It began with that. He was an OSS guy, colonel in that, and he set up, he reformed the Castle Bank and Trust in the Bahamas. Okay, so what that was a black bank that was deeply involved, and black is just like black operative, black site, black this and that. That just means secret, doesn't mean the color black or anything. In case you didn't know. In case you turned into this vlog with some ASMR sleep, which you can definitely get, probably, if you don't know what I'm talking about. But I'll leave in the liner notes the names and stuff, and maybe some books so you can have fun following up, maybe. But, yeah, this was the black bank that was involved in financing covert actions against Cuba. Interesting enough, he played a key role in the purchase of the site for Disney World, which Disney World is a cult unto itself, which I love. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to be getting any more hot water. Talking about the CIA is one thing, but the power of Disney, that goes beyond the scope of what even I are willing to deal with. So actually, when there's puke in Disney World, they call it a protein in it, or something like that. They have words, interesting cult words for stuff. Unfortunate protein burst or something. I don't know. Oh, that didn't come out right. They have another name for vomit. That's another vlog. I'm gonna do another vlog on weird jobs and names they have. You're not a barista, you're a partner. Okay, so it goes Paul Helliwell, okay, then it goes Nugan Bank of Australia, then it goes perhaps certain aspects of Bishop Baldwin Dilling and Wong under Ronald Rewald, then it goes into the super highly suspected black bank BCCI out of Pakistan, and then it goes into unknown territory. So that was that's the way it goes. So he was the man in terms of bankrolling covert operations in Cuba. That was between 64 and 75. And He worked as a lawyer for a Panamanian holding company that controlled a Bohemian gambling casino connected to the mob figure Meyer Lansky. So this guy was the first in this series. So the next would be I can't believe that other one. I had this down good. The next one was even more fascinating, I would say, in certain ways. Although the anti-Cuba stuff could have been obviously connected to the Kennedy assassination. That's a whole nother thing. So it's I don't think that I don't think I think probably the Castle Bank and Trust was pretty significant. I'm not sure, you know, but I look upon that as one of the early black bank style things. Now the next one is the Guggenheim Bank. Get your notes together. I've got a couple of slideshow videos on that, and I think I actually heard from the guy, Mr. Butt, Peter Butt, the Sydney Morning Herald. He I don't know if one of his friends got mad at me something for making a YouTube or whatever, but hats off to him. I've said this before. He's the man, because Mr. Peter Butt located John Hand. So there were two guys, special forces guys from Vietnam, who founded a nefarious bank in Australia called the Guggenheim Bank. Frank Nguyen allegedly committed suicide. According to the book Crimes of Patriots by the late John Quitney, he had a business card for CIA Director William Colby in his wallet when they found his body. Needless to say, it was a shady situation, to say the very least. Now, Quitney and Alfred McCoy wrote an incredible book called Politics of Heroin, which is a behind-the-scenes look at the so-called French Connection. After the nationalists in China and Chiang Kai-shek lost to the communists, they moved into the jungle and allegedly got into the business. So that book is not to be missed. It's incredible, Politics of Heroin. But both these journalists contend that, or asserted that, the Guggenheim Bank facilitated the international movement of illegal funds for drug smugglers in the CIA. So, of course, the agency has emphatically denied this. It is, however, suspicious. As a partially connected to that story was the unfortunate story of Edward Wilson. So Wilson was also a man involved in proprietary companies. Castle Bank is a proprietary company. Guggenheim is a proprietary company. The Air America is. Those are the names. As I said in my video that didn't go okay. I'm not saying I look at them or whatever for anything other than stereo ads. But, however, back in the day, the one of the prime sources was some of the adult magazines actually had covered events like this, things that weren't really exactly in other news, like the savings and loans, with the SNL scandal, which was the total deregulation of thrifts, which led to alleged people involved in intelligence and the underworld making a lot of cash by defaulting on, like they put together a mall, whatever. The thrifts were deregulated, so they borrowed the money and they kind of pocketed. It was huge. The Silverado one involved Neil Bush. This ought to not get me a job with the agency. Come on. Put me in deep. And I think Cuomo's son was involved in that. So, hey, people should talk about this stuff. And Menya, Arkansas. I'll get into that in another one, right? What's interesting is there's a lot of movies now like American Made by Tom Cruise and another one with the Breaking Bad guy that features BCCI. I'll get that into a minute. And it features connections to some of this stuff, like the Minya Airfield. They even show how Barry Seal was sprung by then Governor Bill Clinton, and he's sitting in a hallway with young Bush, which was strange. So, but hats off to Mr. Butt. Okay, I know you. One of his guys or himself commented. I think he was a little pissed because I had done a slideshow video of his thing. Sorry, he's the man who caught Hand in Idaho. I think he was a prime mover in that, and in a disguise and everything. Still alive. Hand was a Green Beret, and we can't take away from the fact that he was a freaking war hero and a tremendous warrior. And it's like I'm saying, Rewalt comes after Nugenhan Bank, but I have to get into. I gotta do a whole blog about this Nugenhan Bank. You're talking about shady stuff, and it's difficult sometimes to see if it's the who is involved in it, rogue groups or whatever. Do I think the entire agency is involved in drug running? Not exactly, but are there powerful groups, perhaps more powerful than the agency themselves? Rogue outfits, black operatives, able to finance themselves with operations like the Nugenhan Bank. Could that be true? How does it relate? There was Rear Admiral Yates connected to it, and Colby was legal counsel. That's why the Mr. Frank Nugen had Colby's business card with him. So, is it drugs? Is it guns? It's some big names linked up. Mr. Marcos. Yes. Is this what you have to do to fight the commies? I'm drifting. So, yeah. After the Nugenhan Bank folded, it would be, the next one was Bishop Baldwin, Dillingham, and Wong, which is strongly denied. I made another little video about that, and there was somebody from Hawaii that was like, that guy was a crook. Bishop Baldwin, Dillingham, and Wong was the firm. They defrauded people. Can't get that much information. It just says that Mr. Ron Rewalt, who I made a video on, was a Ponzi schemer, and he was a professed agent. Now, there's a book by Mr. Rodney Stitch. Where I'm going to go into part 2. You know what? I'm going to do part 2 on this stuff, because I don't see any videos out here about this black bank stuff. Come on. This is awesome. Disavow. There is a book called Disavow by I can never pronounce him right, but he's a former pilot. And I read it a while back. And Rodney, last name Stich. I'll leave his name in the liner notes here. So, Rewald's cover was blown. He claimed to be a victim of plausible deniability. I think he passed away 2013. It was kind of a Magnum PI thing. Whereas that he was in Hawaii undercover. I believe he found some information out about Japanese speed train. And, I mean, he's photographed with Sultan of Brunei and all these people. Defrauding America. There's another one. Disavow. Okay, so I'm drifting. Bishop Baldwin, Rewald, Dillingham, and Wong. Was he really? Was his cover blown, or was he screwed by the agency? He goes through a thing where he claimed that Bill Casey himself tried to whack him in prison. I remember that part as well. So I'm just doing an overview of these things now. So we've got Paul Helliwell. We've got the Nugahan Bank. We've got Bishop Baldwin, Rewald, Dillingham, and Wong. Was he just a Ponzi scheme going after suckers, or was it a real CIA cover? Financial proprietary company. Very suspicious. Those are like those action shows. My cover's been blown. The agency disavows me. I've got to prove my innocence. Burn Notice or something was an entire show, I think that was. So, the Nugahan Bank was the predecessor for an even more gigantic one, which was the Bank and Commerce Credit International, founded by Mr. Agha Hasan Abedi of Pakistan. Pakistan's got to be one of the most mysterious countries regarding certain things. President Zia himself, his plane went down. Remember the Northern Alliance guy just before 9/11 was blown up. There had been the transfer of the Stinger missiles to the Mujahideen freedom fighters. Back when Sylvester Stallone is Rambo, they were our friend, and then we fought them. Or we were with the Northern Alliance, and we were against the Taliban. Some people have speculated that Zia's plane going down was suspicious. This was the hugest, one of the hugest scandals registered in Luxembourg. It was a who's who Mycroft home kind of thing. Names come up. All the intelligence services. In the movie The International with Clive Owen at the end, wait till the end of the movie, they have a non-fiction part about it saying it was constructed by the CIA and the Mossad. But they did business with everybody. I believe they did business with Saddam, the Contras, the Sandinistas, everyone. Incredible. Liquidators said that this bank, the liquidation of this thing, the victims, the money, the millions, the billions, unrecovered, 95,000 box of files. The failure of this bank was said to affect people just like an earthquake or a tsunami. Honestly, the trial was incredible. The report of Senator Kerry is something out of James Bond. There were groups like Manuel Noriega, intelligence agency CIA, Mujahideen guerrillas. Incredible. The thing they had at their peak, over 400 offices, over 70 countries. It led into New York, and they portray that with the attractive woman, I forget her name, and Clive Owen. It's that movie, The International. I did a slideshow video of that too. I noticed also today I did a slideshow video saying that way before that Trump was going to win, by the way. So this channel isn't that bad if you can sift through it. It's a maze. It's an enigma wrapped in a mystery mixed with chaos. I have the greatest YouTube channel in the Western world, and don't try to deny it. So, yeah, incredible. Look into this. I'll leave stuff in the liner notes about this. There's nothing like. So the Nugan Bank was mysterious, but this goes into a whole nother level. I mean, that was international too, and that was Nugan loaded with alleged spies. But this BCCI thing is nothing like, and they don't talk that much about it. It's interesting how these movies are coming up now. Breaking Bad guy. Oh, bear with me a moment. What's the name of that guy? Walter. Heisenberg. Played by actor Bryan Cranston, right? He was a badass. He plays a DEA guy. In a movie based on